Welcome back to episode 24. You want to watch a movie or something? Jungkook asked instead, sitting on the next cushion. Taehyung turned to him dubiously. You have to work in the morning. You go to bed. They said, don't feel like it, Jungkook replied, getting up and walking over to the entertainment center, opening a cabinet. What kind of movie are you interested in? Liar. Taehyung thought. The Burnett was clearly fighting with his sleep, but Taehyung was a tad happy Jungkook would offer to stay up with him. His avoidance at the hospital had kind of worried Taehyung, even though they knew he himself was the cause. No horror scene. Nothing is snappy, Taehyung answered. Would comedy be appropriate? Jungkook ventured, moving DVD case around. Actually, yeah, that's a good idea. Taehyung agreed. Laughter was already a good way to get your mind off things. It didn't work completely. Sure, Taehyung laughed. Jungkook did too, but his mind was still turning uncomfortably. Just a few hours he was going to see his parents for the first time in years. He was beginning to rethink his earlier decisions. Should he really had to practice in front of a mirror for this? They didn't let that thought go on for long, turning full attention back to the movie. It was about halfway through said movie that Taehyung realized he was the only one who you said you didn't feel like going to sleep, Taehyung thought affectionately. He reached for the remote and muted the television, hands dropping carelessly in his lap. He turned his head against the couch, content in the watching dull blue lighting of television flickering on the Bonner's face. Why did it have to be him? Why did it have to be this same situation? The raven's soft sigh was melting, his body heavy from the stress, tiredness, and heat is settling like a weight on his shoulder. He found comfort in the fact that he was starting his life over again tomorrow. Even though his consternation darkened eyes fell to Jungkook's lips. So you never kissed him? Minho had asked at the hospital right before Taehyung left. He smiled half-heartedly. What was with Minho and his kiss means everlasting love theory. Stupid, so stupid. Inevitably, the thought of unrelenting, no matter how many times Taehyung claimed it stupid. After a moment's hesitation, Taehyung still moved closer to the sleeping body of Jungkook, sneaking his knees into the cushion. So nervous was he that they nearly jumped when his own shadow covered Jungkook's face. He almost wanted to laugh, but amusement faded as soon as he laid his eyes back on it. The raven studied his companion with the critical eyes. Jungkook was still breathing steadily, no sign of movement. Taehyung could just steal a little kiss, and Jungkook would never have to know. The raven was pretty skilled at sweeping things away. Anyway, with the heart beating on his chest like a drum and jockey unsure movements, Taehyung leaned closer, never taking his eyes off of the bonnet. The coffee irises were wide and searching darting around for any sign of awakening. This was a parting gift for himself because it was really unfair that this moment had been taken away from Tae twice. And if he kissed Jungkook while the man was asleep, there would be no question, no worries, no afterward. There wouldn't be a chance to go through the heartbreak they had before, and well, he knew he was making excuses for himself, but it only lasted for a few seconds before Taehyung pulled back a bit. His stomach twisted into a knot. He couldn't bring himself to back away, though. Did they really think one little brush was going to be enough? One is never enough when you want something so badly. Fluttering with the devil, Taehyung leaned forward again, more firmly. He dragged his lips along. With Bernard's, delicately caressing, finally allowing his eyes to slip shut. Jungkook jolted awake. Taehyung's eyes snapped open as he pulled back, heart nearly jumping out of his chest. Jungkook's eyes cracked open and stared boldly into Taehyung's own. In a silent panic, Taehyung stayed frozen in place, hovering over Jungkook's body. They knew he undoubtedly looked guilty when Jungkook broke eye contact to look at his lips and then broke up with him. Taehyung was 100% sure he had been catched and felt like banging his head against a wall. Time ticked by so very slowly when his mind was a mess and he could hardly breathe. Oh, done it. Taehyung's thought process of grieving came to the screeching halt when Jungkook tentatively leaned forward and reconnected their lips. In fact, it took a lot of efforts for Raven not to skin in surprise. It was simple and sweet. Jungkook then tilted his head further to the side and repeated the action, earning a shaky breath from Taehyung. Afterward, their eyes pinning him in place with the intense gaze as his lips traveled slowly across his. A brief pause, and then Jungkook lifted his hand to gently cup on side of Taehyung's face, a fingerprint caressing the soft skin of his cheek. Taehyung found himself leaning into the warm hand and closed his eyes, unable to hold the melting gaze, heart beating in his chest at what was happening in such the very way. Some way he got a rush doing something completely forbidden. He wasn't sure what to think. Waking up to something like this was downright never working. Jungkook had almost believed it to be a dream until he had leaned forward and took Taehyung's lips against his own. It felt far too real to be any figment of his imagination, but why wasn't he himself the one who wanted to? Seeing Taehyung lean into his hold nearly put him in awe. With growing courage, the businessman closed his eyes and leaned in yet again, getting his hand across and around Taehyung's head, fingers dibbling into the ribbons and strands. The kiss was less hesitant. It was firm, bold, and instantly had Taehyung melted into his arms. The angle was weird. Taehyung was still half off the side, his legs now digging into the side of Jungkook's home. Kook had no qualms about it. However, as their lips met again and again, turning sides, some kisses out, some hard, sometimes not even connecting, just barely brushing noses and breathing the same air. Thanks here tickled Jungkook's hand, while Taehyung's own hands were placing on Jungkook's shoulder, rubbing them softly to keep balance. Jungkook's heart fluttered pleasantly when a crushing tongue leapt at his upper lip, a silent question. With a short cry, Jungkook's hand left Taehyung's head, and both of his hands reached out around the raven. Taehyung tugged on his calves when both hands landed on his back and escorted him over to sit on Jungkook's lap more comfortably. With one leg on the either side of Jungkook's side, keep his hands where they lie. There was hardly given a pause before Taehyung's lips were captured again. This time, however, Jungkook slipped his inside and warm craving, pushing Taehyung's back into motion. Taehyung quickened, leaning his body against Jungkook and cradling, responding to the devilish pink. The sound of their breathing became more prevalent as kiss grew more heated. Taehyung's finger nodded in Jungkook's hair. Jungkook's hand had traveled beneath the raven's t-shirt and spread out of the skin of his back as their lips met, demanding, and at the beginning of becoming swollen, a warm sensation popped down to both of their abdomens, only crushing their blood to rush faster and fuel. Amplify the complete and utter want. They were heavy pants. By the time they broke apart, only able to gaze each other's hazy eyes for searching their seconds before their hands scrambled to walk off the t-shirt side, hiding their bodies. The clothes was half thrown to the floor. Jungkook then wrapped his arm around Taehyung's plank torso, turning to lie him on the couch. Taehyung clenched onto his warm shoulder and observed with interest as Jungkook towered over him. That rush of protection, being surrounded by Jungkook like this, hit Taehyung again and again and made him sigh contentedly when the bonnet leaned down to mold together their foreheads. Jungkook could hardly breathe, which wasn't exactly the best situation when you had to catch your breath from an intense makeup session, but he wanted to say something, anything. You're beautiful, I want you, stay, I love you. Jungkook settled for a shaky voice. He was unable to continue, though when said man cut the distance between them, distracting Jungkook by kissing the daylights out of him. Jungkook found himself immediately giving in, rushing his hands up and down around everywhere he could possibly reach on the gorgeous beauty beneath him, memorizing every muscle, every curve, every point, every joint, every breath, every cry. Taehyung was screaming beneath every needed touch. He wasn't sure what to blame it on, being so tired, or maybe because this was the first time they would touch each other since this shocking revelation. But their senses felt like they had heightened 3 times over. His mind was irritationally screaming at him to get closer, but close was never going to be enough. The bonnet looked down at Taehyung, then eyes gazed at cousin. Can I? Jungkook asked, totally With a tug on Taehyung's jeans, Taehyung was extremely close to screaming why the heck Jungkook was asking. Before it hit Taehyung, they were equal now, friends. This was stepping over that friendship line just a tad bit. No, you can't. You shouldn't. This is just going to make it harder to resist you, you idiot. I always take the easy route. I ran from everything. You know that? So no, Taehyung thought to himself, but yeah, Taehyung answered instant. He's tot afraid of what answer instant. He's tot afraid of what emotions ended up flashing across his face. Taehyung pulled Jungkook's head down to kiss him again. Those warm heart lips were an amazingly wonderful distraction, and the sound of zipper moments later creating a buzz of excitement. The bonnet pushed Taehyung's jeans and shorts down. Jungkook's hands were at work with the thimble. Taehyung cried loudly into Jungkook's mouth, and that was just the beginning of their midnight love. The night is long for them, and they are gonna cry louder than they did ever. Well, I definitely think I can sleep now, Taehyung said with more enthusiasm than he felt, turning to get off the bonnet's lap. Taehyung, Jungkook said quickly, wrapping his arm around the escaping man quickly. Taehyung reluctantly turning back, almost jumping, when Jungkook's hand slipped to his neck off his neck and pulled him in. In all honesty, Taehyung wanted to cry when the bonnet kissed him slowly, capturing his lips over and over in a simple yet completely needy way. Why was Jungkook doing this? He already got his freak. There was no reason to keep sewing pins in his chest. It was almost like Taehyung pulled back rather abruptly. Jungkook's eyes snapped open in surprise. Taehyung clenches a little, looking off at the side. What the heck is this? Go out, eat dinner, have and a kiss. Good night. You trying to make this into a date? Taehyung continued to laugh a little hollowly, his tongue joking. He wanted Jungkook to laugh with him or mentor back or do anything that didn't lead to any serious conversation. They both hoped his voice hadn't betrayed anything. It was a stupid thing to even say, but he was nervous as heck, and the thought he had on his mind, taunting him. Jungkook stared. Taehyung avoided his eyes. A finger ran down Taehyung's forehead, and then a hand slipped into one of his own. Taehyung swung his head down to look at the joined hands in his both surprise and growing fear. Can it be? Jungkook asked tentatively. Taehyung snapped up to Jungkook's, his body forgetting how to breathe. The shock on the raven's face flustered the bonnet, causing him to glance away. The movie that has been playing ended at the moment, sending the room into darkness. Taehyung stared straight ahead, able to make out the bonnet's outline through the surrounding silence. Laughter. Jungkook's eyes widened when Taehyung started laughing. He felt the raven shift and stand. Yeah, right. We are completely opposites, Jungkook. Taehyung spoke mirthfully. We would be at each other's throats constantly if we were actually a couple. And just like that, it was one big joke. Taehyung brushed himself by scruffing around the room, picking up the clothes painfully aware of the silence, so painfully aware it physically hurt. Jungkook slowly leaned back into the cushion. Haha, yeah, guess you're right, Jungkook replied, trying to make it sound like a no big deal. Taehyung closed. I'm about to pass out, so I'm going to bed. Wake me up whenever it's time to leave, Taehyung requested, turning swiftly and walking around the bedroom. Jungkook didn't stop him. Taehyung's eyes burned. Instead of going to the bed, he bumped his clothes on the room and walked into the bathroom, shutting and locking the door behind him before allowing his tears to fall. It was only the worry of what Jungkook might think that left him with the will to fill the tube and get in it. There was no other excuse to stay locked in the bathroom until they could get a hold on his fluttering emotions again. Taehyung methodically dragged his head across the surface of the warm water, moist eyes following the shorts as they gently floating into the to and fro. The tears had since stopped their descent from tired ruby eyes, left to dry in untouched, trailed down the raven's pale cheeks. They made his face stiffy, closing his eyes. Taehyung sunk down deeper into the warm, bubbly water, leaning his head back on the cool surface. He lifted his arms, placing wet hands on the skin of his cheeks and rubbed them through, erasing evidence of the light, the whites of his eyes. Taehyung had leaned rather quickly that it was incredibly hard to cry silently when your body felt the need to fold in on itself. The entire night seems unreal. Everything had happened so fast and all at once. Taehyung felt so much better thinking it was all a dream, but that fantasy wouldn't last from very long. The fact Jungkook felt something special for him, no matter if it were in comparison of Taehyung's own feeling or not, could not be erased, and neither could be horrible way Taehyung had sliced. So aggressively close, they had stood still for a single moment when Taehyung could have chosen to face his fear and follow his heart, and he threw it away. He made it into a joke. Run, after all, the encouraging words about taking risks and going after what one wants most, and the raven felt like a chair burned unpleasantly. He tried to tell himself it was for the best. Jungkook would only be burdened by his presence, and Taehyung would forever be insecure about their relationship, pursuing pursuing the impossible. Why did Jungkook have to wake up? Idiot thought, some cracking his heavy eyelids open to stare at the ceiling. He wasn't even sure who he was referring to. Both of them deserve the title. Jungkook wasn't the only one who let emotions get in way of business. Taehyung briefly wondered if such a thing was category and clenched darkly. It was some hallowed sound he had made in front of Jungkook in a pathetic attempt to show he wasn't concerned with the topic at hand. A lie, such a ugly lie. With a heavy heart, Taehyung pulled the plug on the drain and stood. Lie or not, it was reality. He didn't belong here. Taehyung dried himself off and threw a pair of sweats and turning off the light before leaving the bathroom to sleep next to Kook one more time. Neither were able to fall asleep right away, but turning away from each other, they pretended to be continued. So everyone, what do you think about this episode? I will see you again with the next episode. Hope you will like it. See you again. Bye bye.